Good morning, Hong Kong. Welcome back to another episode of Hong Kong Insurance 101. And because of the news, you've probably guessed it, but we're back on insurance and COVID-19. On Sunday, November 29th, 2020, Chief Executive Carrie Lam announced that all schools in Hong Kong would be suspending in-person learning immediately and that classes would not resume until at least 2021. It is clear at this point that the fourth wave of the virus is firmly impacting the city. Restaurants are once again limiting their operations. Businesses are starting to consider continuing work from home arrangements, and the normality which was briefly realized between waves of infection is starting to be stressed. While the issue of COVID-19 is well understood at this point, and the need for social distancing, isolation, and face masks as directed by medical professionals is unquestioned, the pandemic presents a far greater range of risks than those merely related to healthcare, health, and well-being. One of the most concerning areas for fallout which we have seen is in relation to the internet and cybercrimes. While cyber insurance was a secondary purchase at the start of this year for companies if they were even considering the product, and this situation has not fundamentally changed the way in which businesses and individuals consider digital insurance protection, cyber insurance is far more important than you may realize. With the move to social distance and isolation, many people and businesses have made the decision to work remotely in 2020. This has increased the number of remote computing devices and the reliance on the cloud. But if these devices are not secured properly, the utility of remote work is potentially crippling to an organization. According to a RevRoot study conducted earlier this year, roughly 40% of remote desktops are currently unsecured. With new devices to target and with those devices being open to manipulation, the number of attacks focusing on remote desktops increased by almost 400% in March and April. This has led leading antivirus firm Kaspersky to issue an alarm over the brute force attacks being perpetrated by criminals around the world. But it's not just brute force issues we're facing. Email is still a problem, with users almost 3 times more likely to fall victim to a pandemic phishing scam than they normally would be. And with scam email relating to COVID-19 pandemic surging over 650% this year, it's not hard to see that there is a major problem going overlooked. In August of 2020, Interpol reported that global cybercrime events were growing at an alarming rate during the pandemic. The decentralized work remote from home situation caused by the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic worldwide has created an environment rife for opportunity in the eyes of cybercriminals. Although the attacks themselves are vastly the same as their pre-COVID iterations, then the fact that COVID-19 is a clear and present danger has made it vastly easier for criminals to successfully perpetrate an attack on their victims. Unfortunately, the situation we find ourselves in will only get worse. The paradigm has shifted, and the pre-pandemic assumptions once held about the world may not, in fact, be entirely true. Across the Fortune 500 and within our own Hong Kong SME community, the conveniences and ease of access presented by remote and cloud-based workforce is proving to be not entirely unattractive. However, there are pitfalls here, and as should be immediately obvious based on the case we've presented, there is no small amount of risk and exposure. Moving to a fully digital business environment would mean that there is no need to purchase office contents insurance. If you have no office, there will be no contents. We have discussed writ large the dilemmas of home versus work identification in relation to business insurance. And while that is a separate topic, the move into employees' homes holds arguably greater risk than having the employee work out of your office. Cyber insurance products are historically the least purchased in the Hong Kong professional and financial insurance market. There has, up to this point in time, been a perception that cyber insurance isn't necessarily a major component in a company's risk management toolset. This has, in turn, led to woeful underutilization of cyber insurance, just as the shift to full digital reliance is being made. Fortunately, there is no better time than the present to consider protecting yourself and your company. CCW Global is able to provide comprehensive cyber insurance options which will protect your organizations against the risks developing now and those which will be developed in the future. Cyber insurance products are flexible, bespoke forms of coverage which are tailored to meet the exact risks of your organization and give you access to support in a worst case scenario. That's us for this week. We hope you have a happy and healthy weekend. Remember to like and subscribe to stay current with all our content as it comes out. And don't forget to ask CCW. We're simplifying your insurance.